Hello, everyone, and welcome to ESL's Go4SC2 number 49 Finals, sponsored by SteelSeries. I'm your caster, Kessel, and today we're going to have a game between DarkForce, who's going to be spawning as the blue Zerg at the top, and he's playing against Tarson, who's going to be spawning as the red Terran at the bottom, or the right, if you want to call it the right. And this is going to be on Scrap Station. Now, I really appreciate all the views I got from BlizzCon. I'll do more of those as soon as I can figure out who is going to cast them, so I don't have multiple, or certain BlizzCon games don't get multiple casts. And I really wanted to cover the ESL Go4SC2 because they always have interesting games, and it's not as high level as Korean players, but it is still very high level, and they are European players, and they're pretty, I think they're a little bit more hardcore than North American players, so hopefully we'll see more North American players step up and compete. But since there's not really a league over in the States, I can't really do anything about that. So, I mean, unfortunately, I would like to see a league here that's more popularized, but I guess Team Liquid supports Go4SC2 and Zotac and ESL more than they do the North American leagues, because it's European, so, I mean, why would they support anything else? So back to casting, because that's probably what I'm better at doing than talking about random leagues in North America. So it looks like Tarson is getting that barracks and that refinery, so we might either see Marauders or Reapers. And DarkForce has scouted out at least the barracks, but he does not see the refinery yet with his Overlord. Meanwhile, an early hatchery going up for DarkForce, not going for that spawning pool until just now. Overlord just flying all over the place so he can get good scouting duties. And Tarson is sending one of his SCVs over to scout out DarkForce's base. And if he does see the early expansion, he is probably going to go Reapers. But it looks like no tech lab has gone up. He is getting that orbital command, and I think he's going to be saving up that gas for a factory. DarkForce's extractor just coming out right now, and he is starting to fully saturate that. The hatchery over here is almost done, and will that SCV be able to spot the expansion? So far he is only checking inside DarkForce's main base, but I'm sure he's going to check the expansion, because that is what every player should know to do against Zerg especially. And Tarson is getting that factory right here. He is also getting that supply depot lowered over here, I guess, just to keep bases safe. And Tarson did spot that expansion, so hopefully Tarson is getting more Marines, and I think he's going to go Hellions instead. We shall see. He isn't getting that second refinery. DarkForce getting metabolic boost and 2 queens out of his hatcheries, and he is starting to saturate his natural. A couple Marines starting to move out here, and a couple Lings have come out to spot at the xel'naga watchtowers. They're going to spot those Marines, and SCVs starting to move out. More Lings getting built right now, and Hellions are getting pumped out for Tarson. A starport going up as well for Tarson, so we might see a couple medevacs come out. No command center though. He isn't going to expand. He wants to put a little bit of pressure on DarkForce to penalize DarkForce getting that early expansion. And DarkForce could be in serious trouble. He only has about 6 Lings. He needs more, and 8 more are popping out as we speak. Tarson getting that bunker over here, and he's going to try and stop the expansions on both sides. The Queens and the Lings trying to come up here, trying to get those Marines and Hellion. And is that SCV going to go down? The SCV does go down, and the bunker was unable to complete, and those Marines are going to get completely taken out. But there is another Hellion over here, and they're going to be able to burn away all those Lings. And those Lings have no chance against those Hellions, and those Hellions are going to try and jump inside DarkForce's base. DarkForce trying to get his queen onto the creep, and the Lings do have their speed now. They're going to be able to take out that lone Marine who does not have stem. And while we weren't watching, Banshees are getting built out of the starport. He did put a tech lab. He's getting a command center to get his economy up as well, to keep up. And Tarson also building a bunker right in front of the ramp and the natural, so he can protect both. This is actually a really good bunker placement over here, but I actually like to see it a little bit closer. The Lings are starting to come up here, and the Marines are going to try and burn away as many of these Lings as possible. And now there are 3 Hellions, and 3 Hellions have no chance. Or 3 Hellions are going to be easily able to take all those Lings. And now the Banshee is starting to fly over. I don't think Tarson has spotted this. He doesn't have enough right now to defend against the Banshee, and that Banshee is just flying over here, getting ready to harass those drones. And he is going to start attacking drones. One goes down, and the second one also goes down. The Queen finally notices it, trying to take out that Banshee. And the Banshee trying to just shoot away as many of these drones as possible. And it's already up to 6 kills, 7 kills. And the Banshee is able to float away safely. That Queen trying to push it away. The other Queen also moving over here. And it looks like another Queen being built. So he's got 3 Queens on the field with another one coming up. Siege tanks coming out of the factory, and he is getting siege mode. 2 barracks getting built out as well, and looks like a reactor going up on the barracks. The command center is done, and it is being changed into an orbital command, and that bunker is just going to sit there all nice and tidy. A spire getting built by DarkForce, and a Bangling's nest, so it looks like Banglings and Mutalisks are going to be in DarkForce agenda. He is getting both extractors on both bases, and DarkForce is starting to spread that creep generously. Overlord speed is also being reduced. That Banshee just coming back over here, trying to take out as many of these drones as possible. He did take out another one, but he did lose that Banshee and again to those 2 Queens. The Bangling's nest is almost up, and the spire is halfway done. More Marines being built and medevacs being built out of the starport instead. Tech Lab is researching stim packs but not building anything else out of that barracks, and Overlord speed is done, so DarkForce is going to try and scout inside Tarson's base, but Tarson in the end able to push away that Overlord with those Marines. More supply depots being built by Tarson. DarkForce continuing to build Zerglings and getting a lot of Banglings as well. And the spire is going to be completed right about now, but no Mutalisks coming out yet. Getting a couple Overlords and another hatchery over at the high yield. But Tarson does see this, but he isn't really reacting to this. DarkForce also sees that SCV, I hope, but I don't think either player is really paying attention. The medevac trying to actually drop, but it couldn't get in with those Queens protecting. Mutalisks being built out of the hatcheries, and Tarson continuing to build siege tanks and more Marines. His Marine heavy build could be a very bad thing for Tarson because there are just a lot of Banelings over here. They don't have the Baneling speed, but it is getting researched, and it is almost done. And that hatchery is going to be finished soon. SCV's continuing to scout around, and that Sling is going to completely trap that SCV. It does go down. And while Mutalisks are coming in from the top over here, and those Marines are going to try and guard, they do have stims finished, and infantry weapons level 1 is being researched as well. Tarson is starting to have to move out his forces, and those 2 Lings are going to be easily burned away, but at least he knows what's coming. DarkForce just massing his Lings and Banelings over here. They both have speed. They all... and the Hellions get one shot at those forces. DarkForce does have a lot of Mutalisks, though. Those Marines and siege tanks are going to be pretty relatively good against these forces if you can just keep those siege tanks alive. The siege tanks and Hellions and Marines are now moving towards the high yield over here to take out DarkForce's base. The Marines and siege tanks are moving in here as well, and if DarkForce doesn't do something, he's going to lose this hatchery. And it looks like the Lings and Banelings are starting to move out. The Mutalisks moving in towards Tarson's base, and that hatchery is going to go down to those siege tanks and Marines. A lot of Marines over here though, and a scan goes down for Tarson, so he knows that those Lings and Banelings are over here. He's going to start sieging up. Hellions are going to start moving out. The Mutalisks are going to be able to shoot a couple times at those Hellions, and those Hellions are trying to kite their way in, baiting the Mutalisks to try and take them out with the Marines instead. Combat shields are done, as well as infantry weapons level 1. Another scan goes down for Tarson to get a basic idea where the units are. He's going to be able to take out a couple Lings with that one attack, and the Mutalisks are trying to harass over here. And oh, the Marines are coming in, and they did a perfect surround on those siege tanks. The Marines trying to get away as fast as possible. Several of them get burned away, and the Lings are Banelings more get burned away. The Hellions trying to hold up the forces, and more Banelings get burned away, or get used on those Hellions, and those Mutalisks are going to back up. There are a lot of Mutalisks getting built, a lot of Lings getting built. But Tarson right now has a lot of barrack bunkers and a couple supply depots to block off those bunkers to prevent a complete surround. Siege tanks are over here as well. And Tarson is getting a couple missile turrets in his base as well as in his natural. But Tarson is starting to get mined out of his main. Meanwhile, DarkForce is continuing to just build a lot of Lings, a lot of Banelings, and continuing his mutas, but he's not really doing anything with his mutas because he can't really do anything with all those missile turrets. Tarson getting another command center over here, and another 3 hatcheries going down. DarkForce getting one over here at the left, the 3rd expansion, and the high yield, and he is also getting an in-base hatchery right next to his natural. And this is an interesting place to put his hatchery because it will block off the front a little bit. And DarkForce just continuing to spread creep. He has almost half the map completely creeped up. Tarson just continuing to try and macro up. He's getting a lot of Marines, a lot of medevacs, and a couple siege tanks as well. And both players just content to macro up. Tarson getting an armory as well, so it looks like Thors are in Tarson's agenda. But both players are just kind of content to just stand around, not really doing anything. A lot of upgrades going up for DarkForce. He's getting melee carapace level 1, or melee attack level 1, ground carapace level 1, and flyer carapace level 1. Meanwhile, Tarson is getting armory level 1 for his infantry, and that armory is almost done. Infestation pit is also going up for DarkForce inside his main, and now DarkForce has a relatively good economy going. Tarson has started floating his command center, but it's kind of just standing there waiting for a chance to push in the overlords, flying all over the place to make sure that no expansions go out. Tarson is finally starting to move out with his forces. He's got a lot of Marines and a lot of siege tanks, but DarkForce has a lot of Banelings and a lot of Mutalisks just flying all over the place. The Marine here is going to try and take out one of these Mutalisks, but those Marines are going to get instantly wasted. A couple more Marines coming in, and DarkForce managed to snipe out a siege tank as well. The Marines did try and stem up, and now Tarson is going to siege up and take out